Hello, hello, good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome. If you are in the house tuning in live, God bless you, welcome. If it's your very first time, go ahead, drop a comment, let us know it is your first live stream tuning in so we can give you a proper welcome. All of my veteran live streamers can also welcome you as well. My name is Denzel Rodriguez, your personal finance geek of the 21st century. On this YouTube channel, we cover the YouTube channel on, look, I'm like repeating myself. Sorry about that. Got a little background audio. Let me restart. My name's Denzel Rodriguez, personal finance geek, 21st century. On this YouTube channel, we cover velocity banking, infinite banking, and kingdom authority. And this evening, we're going to have some fun. My goal is to answer as many questions as possible. So if you have a specific question, has nothing to do with tonight's topic, main topic, that's totally fine. Go ahead and drop your comment anyway in advance so that I can scroll back to the top, work my way down. I do my very best to address all of the questions. Be very clear with your questions. Focus on your grammar so that when I read it, I can properly interpret what you're asking. So that is very, very helpful for me and also all of the viewers, especially people that catch the replay, so they can, properly read your question, because that will be posted on the screen so that people can see that. Let's see, where was I? So we're going to be talking about velocity banking in a down economy. Okay, really just understanding like how beneficial is the concept when I'm, if the overall economy is not doing too well. What are some red flags that I need to be aware of? What are some early precautions? What are some, pitfalls that people get into typically when they are leveraging debt, using debt to their advantage? What are some of the things I need to be aware of, right? So if you're brand new to the concept and it's, now 2021, or you've been watching me, you first came across the concept during the pandemic in 2020, I'm sure, maybe or not, you might have faced some additional difficulties that my previous viewers in 2019, 2018 really didn't have to go through, right? Versus in this type of environment that we're in today, there's some additional things that you may not see a whole lot of video content covering this specific area, right? Really, market crash, down economy, debts at all-time highs, right? This is really uncharted territory for, I would say, a lot of people. So my goal is just to have a discussion, give as much value as possible, get through my lesson as quickly as possible, and then, just open it up to Q&A and see how you guys are doing. So with that being said, we've got 21 people in the house so far, so people are rolling in already. Let me go ahead and welcome some people in the house. Mando from Miami here. Hello, hello. I'm your neighbor in the Broward County area. Says hello. How you doing? Oh, so I like this. So if you haven't noticed, I'm also live on Facebook. So some of you are either watching me on Facebook or you're watching me on YouTube. And I like the way my comments are set up. It looks like I'm getting both YouTube comments and Facebook comments. So that is awesome. That was my goal. That's exactly what I've wanted. Perfect. Good evening, North Carolina. Tim, how you doing? Terry, hello. Dave says good afternoon. Good afternoon. You guys gonna have to forgive me. Haven't had a haircut in like, oh my God, like 5-6 weeks at this point. Both of my barbers Been very, very hard to get a hold of, and with my schedule being so tight, I'm like turning into the Wolverine over here. So beard is all over the place, all dirty. Forgive me. I'll do better. Teddy says hello. Craig, how you doing? Aaron, good evening to all Kingdom citizens. Hello, hello. Jerseyans in the house. Derek, how you doing? Steve, Pennsylvania, how are you? Joel, hello, hello. Another from North Carolina, how you doing? Hello, hello. John, how you doing? Make it happen in a down economy. When is a better time to do this than in a time like this? That's a very good point. That's something that I will be mentioning on the board about how beneficial actually the concept can be in a down economy versus a good economy or a decent environment. Hey Denzel, looking forward to some great content. Yep. Hello, hello. Hi from Germany. Wow. I don't know if the concept works in Germany. I really don't. But if it does, that's great. The principles of the concept are the same for the most part. Debt snowballs our measuring stick to see whether or not borrowing from Peter to pay Paul makes any sense. The goal is to offset your borrowing cost. So if you're able to do that in any country, then the concept essentially would work. The names of the tools, the technicalities, simple interest versus amortized is universal. So the fundamentals are the same no matter what country you're in. But obviously there are countries that are more favorable when it comes to debt leveraging than other countries. Other countries just flat out, it wouldn't make no sense to borrow. Buddha, how you doing? Derek says still looking fresh. Thank you. Diane, hello. Hello from Atlanta. Please hit the like button. It's the least we can do. Least we can do for Denzel. Appreciate that. Hello. Hello from Malaysia. Wow. Okay, we're doing good. Your mother / family must be so proud of you. Yes, they are. You know, I was looking up a staggering statistic of Puerto Rican. So I'm Puerto Rican, half Colombian, right? On the island of Puerto Rico, the average income per year, according to Google, so this is Google standards, you can type in average household income in Puerto Rico, right? You could look that up on Google, or just average income for Puerto Ricans, specifically on the island of Puerto Rico. It's only a little over 21,000, or I think it's 22,000 per year, specifically on the island of Puerto Rico. The average income in the U.S., according to Google, is right around 61,000. It's probably like, I would say that's like a 2019, maybe a 2020 number. I know probably a couple years back it was probably like 55-ish, 54, so I'm sure that number has gone up. So then I thought to myself, well, shoot, if the average native Puerto Rican only makes 21,000, and here I am, 25 years old, getting ready to do my first million in revenue, total revenue, since the start of my business, which is only 2-3 years old, where does that put me on the scale of just specifically focusing on Puerto Ricans? Quite high. And I'm only 25 years old, so I thought to myself, man, like, what an opportunity to be able to be a blessing to so many other people, to get people to start thinking differently, really shifting the culture, right? Shifting how we view money, how we think about money, our relationship with money, that it really does not matter what your circumstance is at the end of the day. It's more about how bad do you want it, I would say. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be free? How far are you willing to go to become financially free? Free from all debts, free from being told what to do your whole life from people that have power over you. Like, how bad do you really want it? That's what it boils down to. And how willing are you to take on responsibilities and accountability? Because, man, with great, what's the saying? Somebody help me with the saying. What is it? Something something, with great something something comes great responsibility, or something like that. I can't think of the saying right now. But in a nutshell, when you decide to no longer be a victim, even though you went through a tragedy, right? Whatever your obstacle, challenge, horrific tragedy, death, bondage, abuse, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever the circumstance was, the moment you say, I can do this, I am, right? The moment you shift your words, right? That's where it starts, because your words are so powerful. The moment you go from saying I can, I will, I must, I am, right? So that means when you say I am, da 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 da, that's your being. So so if you say I am successful, your being, that's your being successful. But if you say things like I can't, I don't know, I'm trying, I got hurt, this person did this to me, and this person did that to me, and my government this, and my this that, and my mom did this, and daddy wasn't there, and mommy wasn't there, and nobody was there, and I'm this. And so if you stay there, that's your being. So if you say I can, and I don't know, and I'm trying, and I keep failing, and I'm a loser, and I'm too poor, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too stupid, I don't have it. If you stay there, that's your being. You're being poor. You're being, right, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, lack of motivation, lack of desire, lack of everything. You stay there, that's your being. But it is possible, because I know if I can do it, anyone can do it. I see other people have done it with worse circumstances than myself. So I'm like, okay, the moment what I can notice in every single person that went from here to a different place is it started with their thinking. It started with their words. The minute they shifted their words and thinking, although they were still physically, financially, spiritually, all of it broke, right? And without and lack of, but they knew instinctively that they don't belong there, that they can actually be in a place of peace and abundance and wealth and glory and riches. So you know that instinctively. You could be broke, but still have a spirit of wealth growing inside of you, little by little. You could be broke, you could be without, you could be lacking knowledge and wisdom and experience and all of it. But the moment you start shifting your words, shifting your thinking, you start to manifest a reality that then becomes your reality. And here we are, right? So I think when I look at all of the role models in my life, all the successful people that I listen to, they all share that similar characteristic. It's just a matter of getting past that circumstance. I'm like, wow. So when I was reading that stat, I was like, wow, look, this is my culture. Average Puerto Rican, making below poverty income levels on the island of Puerto Rico. Wow, this is my heritage. This is where I come from. This is what the majority faces. And then within a short period of time, by simply shifting my way of thinking, by simply repenting, repent simply means to change your way of thinking. It's not a religious term. Repent simply means change your thinking, right? To change how you think about a particular circumstance. So as we get into this lesson, let me stop preaching. Let me just go into the lesson, because I'm not gonna stop, and then I'm gonna get all excited. Y'all gotta hold me accountable, okay? So forgive me. With that being said, let's talk about this. Velocity banking in a down economy. So I wrote some things that I've noticed since the start of the pandemic, March, when things really kind of shut down in the US nationwide, and then kind of how it's been up until this point, 2021, right? So what I've noticed when there is a financial crisis, the last real big financial crisis occurred in 2007, 2008, right? That was an actual financial crisis. That was a fiscal, irresponsible financial moves that were happening on a big scale with major banks, major corporations that affected the entire United States, right? It trickled down. So people at the top made very poor decisions, very irresponsible actions. They were not held accountable, and then it trickled down, affected the whole entire nation, right? And affected other countries as well, right? When the U.S. is not doing well, other countries directly get affected because it affects their tourism, it affects their trade, it affects import-export, it affects everything, because the United States, for the most part, is still the wealthiest country in the world, right? For the most part, on paper, who knows? So the last actual financial crisis was at this point, and then for the last 10 years or so, we've been recovering, and then boom, 2020, we got the black swan event, COVID. So this wasn't really a financial crisis. It was more of a health crisis that, again, due to irresponsible moves, actions on all different sides of the scale, and a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility, a lot of, I would say, civil unrest was really big, right? So right as COVID hit, then people were locked down and people had to start thinking differently, and then all of a sudden this issue came up, and 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 so everybody is strapping themselves to their own issues and talking about it, and it's just causing a whole lot of turmoil, so to speak. So, all right, so civil unrest. It's also a health crisis, right? We simply weren't prepared for the most part for this type of event to take place, where it's a lockdown, a shutdown, social distance, coming up with the vaccine and all. It was all so fast that it all occurred. So health crisis, civil unrest, which then finance is always coming to the equation. So now it's a financial crisis, I would say, as well. But it wasn't finances that was the cause of it. 07, 08, it was finances. It was poor financial decisions at the top that caused everybody to mess up, right? Major banks were giving loans and lending to people who were just should not have been given loans, and people were not financially responsible, going into loads and loads of debt, thinking they can pay it off and not, and boom, big bubble. The bubble burst, right? Now we recovered, so to speak. Now we're here. It's now 2021. So civil unrest, health crisis, now financial crisis. We're now in a very unique, uncharted territory at this point. Now, what I noticed was similar financially financially, what's similar to 2020 and 2007, 2008, what I've noticed, specifically with borrowing money, with debt, is that requirements went up, big banks become less favorable, lending gets tighter, right? Credit limits decrease, so more denials, less people getting access to debt because the banks are becoming more restrictive, becoming tighter, only accepting those that are more favorable, better credit. So that means, so in terms of requirements going up, credit score goes up, DTI needs to be lower, payment history, like they look at your whole report, income needs to be solid. So the big banks are the first to become less favorable, which is why I've always liked credit unions, right? So you'll see me mention that all the time. I prefer credit unions when doing a concept such as velocity banking or just banking and lending and borrowing in general. I prefer credit unions, better rates, better terms with checking and savings accounts, less fees, almost in many cases no fees with business accounts and personal checking accounts. It's just a lot smoother, right? And for business owners, credit unions are fantastic in your local area. They support small business. You know, there's opportunities to potentially collaborate with your credit unions that exist. So it's very interesting stuff. It's a great way to keep money in the community. You know, you've got credit unions that are, you know, say Christian based. There's banks that are just Christian based. You've got black owned banks that I've seen, like a black owned credit union. You've got so different. So it's like a matter of rotating the dollars within the same community. That's a lot better than going with a major bank that they could care less whether you give them your money or not. They have so much that they don't need the headache, right? If you have an issue or if you overdraft on your account, it's much harder to get the refund, or if you make a mistake, whereas a credit union, a little more leniency from what I've experienced, right? So we prefer the local credit unions, state, federal, nationwide, military credit unions. They're later on the list in terms of this stuff. Their requirements going up and lending becoming tighter. I've noticed credit unions are almost positioned pretty well for when economy goes down, because for the most part these are non-for-profit banks. It's smaller, so better managed, I would say. You know, could be wrong, could be a little inaccurate here, but from what I've seen working with clients, the ratio of clients getting approved through credit unions are significantly higher than those that apply at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, you know, the bigger banks. Another thing, in a down economy, like Prince in the comments was saying earlier, perfect environment for people who are well positioned. So those who have great credit scores, good payment history, good DTI, good income reporting last 2 years, you know, from when you apply. You know, you got good income statements. You know, you just look healthy. And typically those are the people who don't need to borrow. And so the banks come to you. They want to give you money when you don't need it. And then when you do need it, they don't want to give you money. So you have that dynamic there to be aware of. So most people in the U.S., right, average income $61,000. Average debt in America and in the average household is over $150,000. So most of American citizens are not positioned, which is why in a down economy, a lot of people get hit, a lot of people get hurt, and they start looking for alternative ways, and then they stumble across a concept like velocity banking because their traditional way of doing money failed them. And now they're looking to do this, but then they have to learn what environment that they're in. Because you try to do something like this and you watch a video that was maybe put out in a time where it wasn't a down economy, it might convince you to watch, to go and apply for something without doing the pregame work. So I've designed my YouTube channel and in a way where I usually recommend people to go back, work your way up, get on my email newsletter so that I can send you relevant, updated information on how to proceed if you're brand new. So for those who have met me in 2020 and today, 2021, I would say this is your playing field. So if you have great credit, good income, good cash flow, and you have debts that you want to remove and you're trying to consolidate, you're trying to move things around, this is the perfect environment for you. Perfect environment, right? If you had a high interest rate mortgage or a high interest rate debt, a high interest rate credit card, in a down economy, interest rates come down. So it's perfect for you to refinance, consolidate, move some things around, do velocity banking, infinite banking, 10x your income. Perfect. Most amount of millionaires are created in down economies. So it's perfect for people like you. For everybody else, the requirements are higher. You know, so if it only required a 700 or higher credit score to get approved for a personal line of credit or home equity line of credit, now it's 720. If the DTI requirement was only 45%, now it has to be as low as 39% or 40%. So it goes lower. So your DTI has to be even lower for them to approve. You know, also your options are, say, smaller. You have to do more homework. You have to actually search and research credit unions and call the banks. And you have to get the relevant information. Hey, at the moment, are you offering these debt tools? Right? Sometimes I have people that will apply at a bank and then I'll go research that bank and realize, hey, knucklehead, they're not even offering HELOCs. And you applied for a HELOC, they're not even offering it. They've actually eliminated the product temporarily. Had you called and asked the questions, had you, watched more videos and studied more and been a little more patient, then we would have been better. But that just isn't the case. People make mistakes, shoot themselves in the foot, and then research and try to learn. So hopefully I can try to catch you before you make the mistake and say, hey, take a look at this, research this. Hey, call and ask before you apply. Get all the information. Build a relationship, build rapport, move your banking to that bank that you want to apply at. All right, watch, read, study, practice, read, study, practice, learn, educate. In a down economy, people make fast moves because it's very emotional. Tensions are high, right? So right now, civil unrest, health crisis, financial crisis, these are like the three main things that I would say is currently going on that everybody is for the most part faced with. So your emotions are probably higher than normal. So you go to the bank and you apply, and they don't accept me because I'm this, or they didn't do the because of that. And it's like, wait a minute, did you do the homework? Right? Did you look at everything? Did you read the agreement, right, between the bank and yourself? So there's all of that going on that you have to deal with. Whereas in an environment between 08 and 2020, not so bad. Not as bad, right? But still, in times like these are actually the best times to shift your thinking, to shift your thought process, how you interpret information, to pivot. Perfect time. These times are where new laws get implemented and new legislation and new policies, and oftentimes it's administration switches, right? So you notice how we're now more of we're in a more democratic administration, just coming from Republican. So you're gonna start seeing some switches now, right? And if you, as an educated citizen, it's important for you to pay attention to some, not everything, right? You don't want to get overwhelmed, but in regard to financial economics and how the political realm influences this environment can really help you as a citizen continue to build your kingdom effectively on a smaller scale, right? So that you can be aware of what's going on. Oh, okay, it looks like, taxes are going to start going up. Okay, looks like these issues are a little more of a concern now as opposed to 12 months ago. Nobody was talking about it, but now everybody's talking about it. So, all right, how does that affect my money? How does that affect how I talk to my family, my clients, my how do I shift? How do I adapt and pivot and, become a leader? Right? So all these things you want to really start thinking of as you're considering implementing a concept such as this, right? So for those in the comments that have been doing velocity banking prior to the pandemic, let us know your testimony, how much debt you paid off, how good it's been, and also share if you're somebody that started in 2020, you were positioned because you did the homework, you watched my videos, you got approved, you went through the homework, and let me know what results you're getting. How beneficial has this been for you? I can tell you right off the bat with the amount of clients that I've had, I've definitely had a percentage of clients from early 2020 up until today, 2021, that are right here. Perfect environment. They were well positioned, got their HELOC, their PLOC, their all-in-one loan, credit cards, zero interest promotion, and they're on a freaking roll. And then I have a smaller demographic, typically my clients that are making under the average income of $61,000. They're in the 40K range, the 30, 45, 50K range. Usually my clients that are in that realm, so the 30 to say 60K range right here, income per year, are really the only individuals that I've seen that had the issues of this. Lending's tighter, big banks are less favorable, the requirements are higher, my credit score needs to be higher. Oh, my credit limits are decreasing. The banks are only offering 15K now. They were offering 30 on the PLOC. Now they're only doing 20 or 15 or 10 or 5. They've reduced it. So usually these people right here are the ones that have a little more difficulty from the clients that I've been working with. And regardless of people that join me either in a down economy or a decent economy, it's the same fundamental rules, right? We've got the pregame work that we have to do. If you don't have a debt tool, have to do the pregame work. Usually this is about a 3 to 6 month window to fix your credit, move your banking to a bank that offers what debt tool you're looking for. You do the research. While we're pre-gaming, we're also doing debt snowball for the most part. In most cases, right? We're trying to pay off that one credit card, this credit card. We're working on credit repair, building credit, maybe refinancing, switching some things around, trying to increase income, trying to reduce expenses, increase cash flow, redirect cash flow, right? Maybe stop contributing to the 401k because the market's down, right? And redirect that cash flow to either paying off debt or investing in yourself to start a business to 10x. So it's the same stuff. It might take a little longer, but it's better if you take that time than to make a irrational move and then it sets you back 3 to 6 months and then it puts you in a not so good position. So those are my thoughts. those are my thoughts. There's not much to say on the education that I have so far on this particular topic. So does velocity banking work in a down economy, if that's a question? Yes, it most certainly does. I have so many clients that got access to first position home equity line of credit, second position home equity line of credit, personal line of credit, secured, unsecured, credit cards at 0%, all-in-one loans, no issue, because it's the perfect environment for velocity banking in a down economy. Interest rates come down, beautiful. I can now borrow from Peter at an even lesser rate, at a lesser cost, and go flip that money by either paying off Paul or investing with Paul, who's going to give me a 10, 12% higher rate of return than what I'm paying Peter at 2, 3, 4% interest rate. Oh, that's a different way of thinking. That's a different way of thinking. I borrow from Peter at 3% to go invest with Paul. Paul's going to give me a 12% return. My net rate of return is 8%, or 9%, whatever it is. So if I borrow at 3, right, and I'm going to earn 12% minus the 3% cost, it's 9. But then when you do velocity banking, in many cases, I can bring that 3% sometimes down to maybe like 2.5 or 1, or in many cases, 0 cost of borrowing. So I borrow capital at 0 cost. I go leverage it, earn a 12% rate of return, a 10% rate of return, or even maybe I double. So I get the profit, I get the principal, I pay back lovely Peter, I mold and maintain that relationship with Peter. I mold and maintain that relationship with Paul because Paul just made money. We made money together. Paul's like, yo, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. And millionaires get created in a very short period of time. Very short period of time. It becomes pretty exciting. Now, some precautions. Let's go over that. Is you have to have your parameters, right? When it comes to borrowing. You don't want to end up like a Dave Ramsey who borrowed a ton of money in real estate, went completely broke or lost everything and had to restart, and now he's got a different perspective on money and how it works. You don't want to end up like that. You want to learn from Dave Ramsey's mistakes. You want to learn from these other successful influencers that made tons and tons of mistakes when it came to borrowing and lending and investing using debt. You want to say, okay, well, it looks like their only issue was they over leveraged. So my main caution to people is to not over leverage. Well, what does that mean, Denzel? Not over leverage. So you'll hear me use the percentage 66% quite often, right? I use that quite a bit in regards to chunking at debt or making an investment, right? Chunking at debt or making an investment, right, I usually stick around here, 66%. Now, to solidify that number, I also take your cash flow per month, conservative. What is a conservative cash flow? Say, for example, you make $7,000 a month, you spend $5,000 religiously per month, you have whatever debt, you're cash flowing, say, $2,000. 7 minus 5 is $2,000, right? A conservative cash flow number would be like you either lowball your 7. You could say, okay, yeah, I make $7,000, but of the $7,000, really 700 of that comes from like commissions or comes from my side hustle. So then I would say, all right, well, actual guaranteed income per month is $6,300. So $6,300 minus $5,000 is actually $1,300. So you're really cash flowing on the low end between 13 and 2 grand. And I might, say call it in the middle and say, all right, conservative cash flow per month is $1,500. So I look at your conservative cash flow per month, times it by 12. 1,500 times 12, 18 grand a year. So I say, okay, 18 grand, got it. Let's say you have a HELOC and you're watching Denzel's videos and he's like, oh yeah, you chunk 66% of your line of credit, da, da, da. And you get all excited. Before you do that, watch more videos so you can piece it all together. Let's say you got a HELOC at 50K, 66% of 50,000 is 33,000. Is that correct? Yep, 33,000. So then in your mind, you say, okay, wait a minute. Denzel said chunk 66%. I have 50K. If I chunk 33K, how long is it going to pay me? How long is it going to take to pay back the 33,000? Ideally, you want to be able to bring your chunks down to zero within a 6 to 9 month range. And then max being 12 months is the absolute max, right? When you start going longer than that, you're pushing it, because something could happen in the economy and maybe the bank decreases your credit limit. They cut you off. They freeze your account, right? So that's another thing, is accounts being frozen. We'll add that to the list. I would say the number one reason why people get their accounts frozen on their HELOCs or PLOCs for the most part, or maybe with credit cards their credit limit decreases, is because they simply over leveraged according to their 4 major numbers. And the bank knows this. The bank knows this. They see it. They know your numbers better than most of you do. Most people that don't spend time on their numbers, the bank actually knows your numbers better than you do, right? They see how much paychecks come in, how much you spend. They see your activity. Come on. They're studying you all day long, seeing how you spend, seeing where you spend. And that's how they get you, right? They're just tracking. It's big data. They're tracking all your movement. So they know your numbers. They know who to cut off and who to keep. It's that simple. So when you see articles of people doing velocity banking, and then it's a negative article, oh, my account got frozen, my HELOC, da 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 da. Well, number one, they weren't even doing velocity banking. I could probably guarantee you that. If they were, they weren't doing it correctly. The third thing is they over leveraged. They took out the whole 50 grand and they tried to consolidate all their debt into their mortgage. Terrible idea. They took the 50 grand, they redid the kitchen, and then COVID hit. Terrible idea. If you can't afford to do the kitchen, why are you borrowing more debt when you've got credit cards, the mortgage itself, your car loan, your student loans, your credit cards, your personal loan, your medical bills? What the hell are you doing remodeling a kitchen? Maximize the kitchen that you're in. Maximize the bathroom for the time being. Fix this. This is your major problem. Fix your income. Put yourself in a better position. Knock out your bad debt. Increase your cash flow. Positioning is key. Very, 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 very key. So to solidify the number, if 33,000 makes sense according to these numbers, I can tell you, no, it does not make sense. Because conservatively, the cash flow is 18,000. Accurate cash flow is 24,000 in a year. So 33 is a little too high for me to commit to the 66, although that is the standard of measurement when we're doing velocity banking. But you have to understand, in terms of leveraging, right? So if this HELOC was 20,000, then it would make total sense to do 66%. If the HELOC was 25,000, it make total sense. But you got 50K, it doesn't mean go use 50K. It doesn't also mean go use 33,000. It does not mean that. Not at all. You want to look, you want to pay attention. Okay, if my conservative cash flow per year is 18, more accurate is 24,000, then maybe between 24 and 33, I find a midway number, maybe a chunk of maybe 28K, maybe 25, or if I went from 18 to 33, somewhere in the middle, 25, 26, 28 is a little bit cleaner for me, and it's below 66%. That's a bit cleaner according to the numbers, right? Let's say the HELOC was 30 grand. So $20,000 less. So if it was 30,000 times 66%, that's 19,800. Oh, that's a lot cleaner. That's a lot cleaner, right? So that's right between that. 18, okay, 18 conservative, more accurate, it's 24. If I do a $19,800 chunk and just stick to that, okay, cool. If I have a guaranteed cash flow of 2,000 a month, let's say the 7,000 was their 40-hour a week guaranteed pay each and every month, and they're cash flowing 24 grand, then that does give me permission to go above 66%. That's when I'll violate the rule sometimes, but even then I may not do it. But it just goes to show that we could have a little flexibility there. Is that called over-leveraging? Not necessarily if you're in a well-financial position. So they could be cash flowing 2 grand a month, but also have a cash value life insurance policy with $20,000 in cash value built up. Then they have a 401k that they could potentially borrow from if, it got really bad, if they lost their job, or if they have an emergency fund with 15 grand in cash. So they got all these other things, all these other assets going on that maybe, yeah, we could go above the 19.8 and do the full 24 and just chunk exactly according to cash flow times 12. That's about the highest that I would go though, right? So if your cash flow times 12 is actually more than 66% of the credit limit, that is the only time that I will violate the 66% rule that I personally have. But at the end of the day, up to the client to make that decision. Conservatively, just do 66. More aggressive, do your cash flow times 12, because when you do the math, remember, we want to have it done within 6 to 9 months, 12 being the max. If my cash flow is 24,000 a year and I chunk 24,000, just going off cash flow alone, making an extra payment of 2,000 a month back to the HELOC, the line of credit would be paid off by the 12th month, right? Because the 24,000, I threw it at other debt that increased my cash flow by, say, $700. So now my cash flow is 2,700. So if my cash flow is 2,700, I chunk 24,000, 2,700 times 12, whatever that number is, obviously it's more than 24,000. Uh-oh, we're in the 6 to 9 month range. That line of credit would be at zero just based off extra payments, ladies and gentlemen, not doing velocity banking. You add velocity banking into the mix where you're dumping your whole entire income into the debt tool. Uh-oh, we go faster, we pay less in interest, and then you attach a credit card to your strategy with cashback rewards, right? We're earning cashback rewards 1 to 3%, which is helping you offset your borrowing costs. The fact that you just borrow from Peter to pay Paul, you just offset your borrowing costs on that, you're in the green. No bank is going to bother you. I've never had a client so far do this strategy, stick to it, know their numbers, and they got their accounts frozen. Not one. I think I've had one client that, or I've had a few clients had their credit limits decreased, not on HELOCs, but I think on credit cards. And then I did have a client with a personal line of credit where the term expired. So then it turns into, regular payment. And then same with HELOCs. I've had clients before, like working with me, they had a home equity line of credit and then it turned into a home equity loan. They thought they had a HELOC, then it's a home equity loan, so they were confused. But for the most part, I haven't had any client so far that I can remember, right? Or maybe there's one that had a credit limit decreased on a HELOC that I can't think of right now. But I haven't had a client say, I haven't had a bad experience with a client say, Denzel, you told me to do this, and you told me to chunk, and then it all went to hell. Haven't had that issue yet, because although velocity banking is amazing, concept works great, the way I teach it is still very conservative, because there's so much more you can do with the concept, but I'm still very conservative with it in how I borrow and how I leverage and things like that. Those are my thoughts. So now, let me scroll up. Let me look at some Q&A. Let me see what's going on in the chat room. How you guys doing? You guys enjoy that? We got 70 people in the house. I like it. Cool. So let's see what we got going on. So let's see. Where did I leave off? Let me see. Here, please hit the like button. At least, oh yeah, I read that. Malaysia. Jonathan says, can you explain all-in-one loan? Sure. How can we access all-in-one loan? All right, real quick. Take care of that. And then I'm pretty sure I've had some viewers who are nice enough to answer John's question. Jonathan, I got some good videos that are already out on my YouTube channel about all-in-one loan, and I'll have more content coming out regarding it that you can watch and learn. Okay, so all I know for right now, company called CMG Financial. They're promoting this quite a bit. A lot of YouTube channels promote it as well from what I've seen. They can give you all the details on how to get approved for an all-in-one loan. There's a lot of requirements. It's not as easy to get than a HELOC or a PLOC or a credit card, right? Just a couple of things I know for sure. I think 720 or higher credit score. You need 20%, 10% reserve, 10% for down payment. So I think you need 20% total cash. So that eliminates damn near everybody for the most part. So I would say it's an exclusive product for those who have money, right? If you have 20% on a $500,000 property or $700,000 property, you are doing a lot better than most of American citizens. So an all-in-one loan is a tougher product to obtain, but it's a very good one. Now, in terms of explaining it, like what is it? So it's a checking account. It's a loan, so it's a mortgage. It's a mortgage loan, 30-year, or I think 20-year if I'm not mistaken. It's a checking account, and it's a HELOC all in one. So I can run my bills through this. I can send my paychecks to this directly. I can automate velocity banking. The interest rate is calculated simple on this debt. So although it's called a loan, and usually most loans are amortized, for this one specifically, it is calculated simple interest daily. Okay? It does not compound. it only compounds according to the daily balance, okay? So if I owe 10,000 and I'm paying 9% or something, right? I'm only going to get charged the 9% daily rate for however many days I owe 10,000, okay? So 10,000 times 9%, 900 bucks, right? Then you divide that by 365. What do you get? 246. So I'm going to pay $2.46 for however long I owe 10,000. 246 on Monday, 246 on Tuesday, 246 on Wednesday, 246 on Thursday, 246 on Friday, until I make a payment. And then I'll pay that interest. Now, with the all-in-one loan, what's nice is that every time you make a payment to the all-in-one loan prior to the due date, it's always principal only first. So it's always principal only payments. Then on the due date, you only pay interest on that balance for that day, right? And then however the month that you were in, that one cycle, you pay interest in that one cycle, just like a credit card. So that means from the very first day you get an all-in-one loan, the first month is the highest amount of interest you'll pay. The second month will be the second highest month. The third month will be the third highest month. So the interest immediately starts to go down, but a lot faster than an amortized loan at the same interest rate if you were to compare, right? Even if the interest rate was lower on an amortized loan, in many cases, an all-in-one loan, although the rate may be higher, again, simple interest, and the way you're using it is a whole lot more effective, especially if you attach a credit card to the equation. So that is the all-in-one loan. Let's take a look at the next question here. Hi, Denzel. Hello, hello. One of my nephews lives in Colombia now. He loves it there. Wonderful place to visit. Yep. I want it desperately. Yep. You're doing an amazing job informing people. Love it. Malachi 3:10. Let's go to Malachi 3:10. Let's go to the Royal Constitution of Heaven real quick. What does Malachi 3:10 say? Open my app real quick. Oh, my phone's moving a little slow. Forgive me. Malachi's Old Testament, correct? Yep. All right. Article 3, Section 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Interesting, interesting. I'll have to read more. With great challenges comes great opportunities. Thank you. That was the thing, right? I think that was the saying. With great power, no, this is the saying. With great power comes great responsibility. That was the saying. So the minute you start making money, the minute you start elevating your financial lifestyle, you start obtaining responsibilities that you did not have when you were poor. And I think this is one of the biggest obstacles that broke people face, is the tragedy, the reason why, the circumstance that has you poor, broke, whatever, right? Usually it's not the circumstance that they have trouble overcoming. It's actually the power that you get once you're out of that. And if you've been living your whole life broke, paycheck to paycheck, every dollar counts, so to think, you're trying to scrimp and scrap and save, and you're doing all this stuff. If you operate like that for so long, you start to make sense of that reality. So the moment you drastically change your income and now you're debt free, great credit, good cash flow coming in, now you got a lot of money to sit on, you have a new problem. What do I do with the money? How do I impact people? How do I serve? How do I protect the money? The minute you start making money, oh my God, the amount of new challenges you face. I gotta have a will. I need a trust. Does my husband trust me? Does my wife trust me? Does my family trust me? Do I trust my family? Do I trust my wife? Do I trust my husband? Uh-oh. New conversations. It's kingdom stuff. And now you're like, I have a business. Do I trust my employees? Do I trust my CFO? Do I trust my CEO? Do I trust myself with all this money, with all this responsibility? Never had it before. Now I need life insurance, protection. I need business insurance. I need liability insurance. I need health insurance. I need the house insurance. I need insurance, everything, right? Protection. Now you're like, wait, I can't stay here. I got to scale up. Because if I don't scale up, Uncle Sam's going to knock me to pieces, tax me. Small business owner, I need to be able to scale up so I can get past the new hurdle, which is having money, not knowing what to do with it, having money, having to protect it. Ooh, that's tough place to be. And sometimes people would rather just stay broke because at least you don't have to worry about other people. When you're broke, the only people you have to worry about is your immediate family. But the moment you start getting into financial freedom with responsibilities, right? Me as a 25-year-old, I now have an obligation. I now have a responsibility for thousands of people that watch my channel to give them authentic, effective, truthful, honest, transparent financial information. That is a big responsibility for a 25-year-old to bear, and say 75% of my audience are more than double my age, right? That is a serious responsibility. And not let alone all the stress that comes with it. The stories, oh my God, the stories that my clients tell me. My mom died, my husband died, my wife left me, I got the child support, this, my son passed away, my daughter passed away, and this, and this, and this, and I have to take that all in. I got to process that on these hour phone calls. All that tragedy, all those challenges. So now I got thousands of people's stories that I need to listen to, interpret, step into their shoes for that hour that I'm with them on the call, or the 2 hours, or however many calls I have with that person. And now I got to follow up with them. I got to stay up with them. I got to continue to serve them. I got to move them to the next place, right? Of financial freedom, of abundance and wealth and giving and cheerful and abundance, right? I got to keep them moving. But then I got to worry about my own health, my own family, my own friends, my own personal relationship. So I got to operate in the same 24 hours that you have and that I have. I have to operate my life. I have to keep my life in order. I have to keep my finances in order. I have to protect my finances. I have to stay educated, highly informed. Whoa. Most people will not make that journey, will not take that leap. And that's why the grave is the most wealthiest place on planet Earth. Because people are not willing to step out of their shell, to step out of their pains, make it about the other person, become a king, become a queen in your own right, and then be a cheerful giver and be a servant leader. Servant and leadership, not just serve. It's not enough to just serve. You also have to lead people, right? And You get the next person, you get the next person. They become your successor so that you can perpetuate and create a new culture within your culture that only operates as kings and queens. They won't know what poor is because they only know kingdom. They only know queen, king. That's all they know. Servant and leadership. Imagine taking a 2-year-old that starts speaking for the very first time, and the only thing you tell them all day long from 2 to 18 is I am, I will, I must, I do, I be, I am, I'm this. Not oh, you can do whatever you want, son, daughter. You can be whoever you want. Go to school, get a job. Go to school, get a job, get educated, save your money. Don't talk to strangers, yet strangers have all your money. Don't talk to strangers. Don't do this, and don't look at that. That's a scam. Oh, don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Dude, you're molding a child to be limited thinking. But if you approach it in a way where you let them know you are a king in a mighty kingdom, you are a queen in a mighty kingdom, and you have the ability to serve and lead on planet Earth over the next 100 years, possibly, right? And if you do the right thing, you live a righteous life, if you educate yourself, you think for yourself, son, daughter, think for yourself. Evaluate, educate, take the time, be patient. Wow, that's all they know. They won't know about a penny saved is a penny earned. That'll be garbage to them. They won't look at money as a limiting thing, that they can only have this, that they can only be this, or they can only study this. No, their thinking goes on new levels, becomes intense. So, with great power comes great responsibility. That's the point. Tilo says, say that truth. To whom much is given, much is required. Oh yes, yep, that was it as well. Speaking in existence, amen. Love it, love it, love it. Mindset is the genesis common denominator between multimillionaires / billionaires. No time for victimhood. Children of the Most High. Yes, too blessed to be stressed and too anointed to be disappointed. Oh my. Oh my. Poverty is a mindset. Sure is. Hello, hello. Come on, you have me going. Cool. Is it a good idea to invest in stocks to create some cash flow? Is it a good idea to invest in stocks to create some cash flow? The answer could be yes. It could be no. The real question is, do you have the proper education to do day trading, let's say, forex trading, options, futures? Do you have the education? Number one. Number two, do you have the capital? Are you able to lose all of the capital that you invest? Because that is a very well possibility. So if you have money to invest in stocks, you want to ask yourself first, am I willing to lose that money? Like, can you comfortably lose that money and still be okay financially? If the answer is yes, great. Excuse me, by all means, I think you'll be all right. But if that's your last 10 grand, if that's your last 5,000 bucks, if that's your last 1,000 bucks, if that's your last 20,000, if that's your emergency fund, if that's your savings that you're looking to allocate, if it's debt, that you're looking to invest in stocks and create some cash flow, I mean, we might want to pump the brakes on that just a little bit. Might want to pump the brakes and think, wait a minute, what if I invested 10,000 in myself, started reading books on the economy, on how the financial markets work, how Wall Street works, how major corporations, how these different markets correlate, international and domestic, right? I think that might be money well spent. to position yourself to create some cash flow. I also feel like personally that the job that you're at, shoot, you can make a whole lot of cash flow at the job or career that you're at by simply promoting yourself, positioning yourself to get promoted. Nobody talks about this. Everybody talks about quitting your 9 to 5 and starting a YouTube channel and creating content. It's like, wait a minute. That's great. No doubt. That's great. But what about doctors? What about lawyers? What about engineers? People who love what they do? What if it's just a matter of going from a engineer to manager to CFO to COO? What if it's being an engineer and then being a manager of a team of engineers, and then maybe being a regional manager of engineers, and then maybe being a district or national, nationwide, region of a statewide of engineers in the company, and then you go from owning shares and stock in the isn't that like faster, so to speak, than to have to split your time, work a 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hour week job, and then try to start a YouTube channel or open up a Robinhood account and think you're an expert overnight on investing because you read 5 articles, right? I mean, what if you just stuck to your career and got a $10,000 raise, a $20,000 promotion? That's a hell of a lot more cash flow. Plus, it's guaranteed. You are now becoming a bigger asset in the company that you're in. I mean, nobody talks about this, about just elevating in the position that you're in and getting more responsibility, making more money. And then say, okay, now that I got more cash flow, I'm in a better financial position. What can I learn that I like to do? Is it stocks? Is it real estate? Is it content creation? Is it marketing? Is it digital marketing? Is it a course? What can I learn? Should I write a book? Do I like acting? Do I like modeling? Do I like Photoshop? Like, what other tools can I add that is in alignment with the main career path that I'm in, and go from there. Hopefully that helps. Hey, Mr. Rodriguez, how you doing? So we're an hour and 12 minutes in. Got it. Lena says, is it blurry or my connection? I would say it's your connection. Fine on my end. Okay. You're right. Credit unions are better. Have applied for a HELOC in 4 banks. Denied. Credit union took me 3 weeks, approved and closed. Boom. Done. Have a nice day. Love it. Did the homework. Got my first PLOC last month. Wonderful. Yes, it does. Cool. Refinanced 2 times in 2020 after paying loan down from 314 to 276. Starting January 2021, paid down now to 232,000. By July, I will be under 200K. I've saved over 100,000 in interest. It works. Wonderful. Mortgage 2.25%. Possible HELOC 3.25%. Is this worth it? It may be, John, it might be. So John says he's got the mortgage at 2.25 and got approved for a HELOC at 3.25. So this is the debt tool. This is the debt he's looking to pay off, 3.25 to 2.25. It will only make sense for the first maybe 1 to 3 chunks, if you're lucky. It will also only make sense if you are at the beginning years of this mortgage. So the top, say 25 to 30 years, right? So if you got a brand new mortgage at 2.25% and now you got the HELOC at 3.25, you're about at 1 to 2 years in. As long as you haven't made any extra payments significantly and you're at the beginning, then really only the first 1 to 3 chunks are probably going to make sense. At some point, it will absolutely not make sense to be taking from 2.25 to put it into 3.25. It just won't. Reason being is there comes a point in time where you hit the what's called the break-even point, right? So when you break even, meaning roughly 50% goes to interest, the other 50 is in principal. So your mortgage payment, let's say it's $2,000 a month. If you got $1,000 going to interest, $1,000 going to principal, and this is where you're at today, roughly 50-50, it probably won't make sense at all, right? If like 70-80%, like damn near your whole mortgage payment basically, because you're at the top, is all going to interest, then it might make sense only for a period of time. Now, the flip side of the coin is getting a HELOC at 3.25 to pay off a 2.25% debt. On the flip side of it, in the current economy that we're in right now, or even just generally speaking, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You have a 2.25% debt. The real question that you might want to pose to yourself, if paying off debt is not the major concern, and your concern is income, 10x, here's the flip side of it. Let's say debt is not a total issue for you. Let's say all you have is just this debt, mortgage, 2.25%, and now you have a potential debt tool, HELOC 3.25%. You might want to ask yourself, is it possible for me to leverage the HELOC to invest and simply earn 2x or 3x return on what I'm paying in interest already, right? Because if you can at least 2x, 3x, well, now you're making more income in the same period of time that it would take you to pay off the 2.25 debt. You could have maybe made more money by leveraging to invest. Or you can say, the hell with leveraging, let me just take my cash flow, invest in myself to 10x, increase my income, not pay off the mortgage, rather figure out a way to leverage the mortgage, right? Leverage the mortgage. Maybe you do borrow at 3.25% and acquire an asset such as another property that's going to pay you cash flow, and you're going to be earning a 5 to 7, 10% rate of return, cash on cash, year over year, reduce your tax liability, which puts more cash flow in your pocket. Totally different way of thinking, my friend. So I gave you 3 different things to look at. You might have to rewind, go back, listen to it again. But that's kind of how I am looking at things as I begin to learn more. You know, I think at one point it was all about paying off debt the fastest, but you're now in an economy, right? Coming back to this 2020 Black Swan event, it's never happened before where the whole world shut down. It's never happened. We got civil unrest, health crisis, financial crisis, all in one, right? When it comes to financial crisis, the way we operate in money is drastically changing. Because now we're at 28 to 29 trillion in debt. And if I'm not mistaken, we have over 100 trillion of unpaid debt. Unpaid debt, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think the number's way higher. So we have unpaid debt, and then we have rolling debt. 28, 29 trillion is a national debt clock that you can look up. And you can look up unpaid debts in the U.S., right? With that being said, we've printed $6 trillion. Over $6 trillion have been printed in the last 12 months. The 6 trillion is not debt. It's simply new money that's being recorded as income as a country. So it's being added to our GDP. So it's a false number. Right? Our GDP is false. Our stock prices and asset prices of real estate and the stock market is all overflated, overpriced. It's ridiculous. And you're living in it. And you're wondering, what the hell just happened to my dollar? The other day, I go to fill my tank. It was 26 to fill my tank. Now it's $37. Now it's 36. You know, a gallon of milk is this. My overall grocery bills used to be 500. Now it's 650. What the hell just happened? And now they're getting ready to increase your taxes, right? So now you have that issue. You have tax increase, cost of goods going up, and interest rates are down. So the dividends and the returns on those stocks are lower, yet the asset price is so high. How the heck do I get in? Right? It puts me in conflict. So you have to be thinking now, okay, all debt is money. All money is debt, right? All the money in the U.S. economy is debt. So how do I use debt to create a money-making machine? So now it truly means that cash flow is king. It always has been, but now it's more relevant than ever before. Cash flow is like the most important thing to have. Like, I would rather have a cash flow of $10,000 a month than to be given $1 million up front. Like one time, 1 million or 10,000 cash flow per month. Give me the 10,000 cash flow per month, because I'm going to have you send it to my business. I reduce taxes, right? Whereas the million sent to Denzel Rodriguez, the government takes 40% of that. I'm left with 60%. That's only 600,000. And then I have to figure out how to multiply the money, and I'm going to learn and make mistakes. Whereas give it to me in increments, 10,000 passively forever. That's a whole lot better, you know? Or even give me a penny. Give me a penny per month and double it. I'd rather get that. I'd rather you give me a penny a month doubled, right? Every month, forever, than to be given $1 million up front, right? Because then at least I can learn how to handle those dollars a little more effectively than it just be thrown on me. Plus, cash flow is the best type of money, right? So cash flow over net worth, personally, is what I'm aiming for. And then to sweeten it, credit. Having good credit, access to debt. Debt is money. Eric Robertson started watching in 2018, was credit challenged, spent 2019 fixing it with pregame work, and now have secured PLOC to pay off $15,000 in consumer debt. That is awesome. Okay, we're an hour and 23 minutes in. We got 97 people in the house. It's awesome. That is awesome. Nice job, crushing debt. Keep it up. Good afternoon. Okay, what state? Okay. Denzel, could be wrong, but completed an AIO loan refi through CMG Financial last month, and I did not have to put any money down. Just had to show that I had 10% in assets. Well, that's because you're refinancing, I would say. But if you're buying, then yeah, you definitely need to have that 10 down. Life insurance, liquid cash, stocks, retirement, etc. Worked it through Harrison George on our KS rental property. Okay, cool. Okay. Will a man rob God? Question mark. Okay. Do you have rental here? All right. We got people talking to each other. What happens when the account froze? It's possible to get it reopened, right? So, let's say worst case scenario. Hello to Cheryl. Let's say worst case scenario, you had a HELOC and the bank freezes it for whatever reason. Probably because you were over leveraging. Probably because your credit went down. Probably because your income went down. Something financially happened. The bank noticed it and they locked you up, right? And they froze your account. It is possible. It's only for a temporary period of time. You can have it reopened, right? So that is a process and that can be done. Hello, good perspective, cool. Is it possible to emulate the IBC by collateralizing crypto to finance your living expense? I realize crypto loans require the borrower to over collateralize in order to borrow. Correct. So the answer is yes. There's definitely a way, and I'm playing with that right now, Aaron. So I am playing with that methodology because so I'm using Coinbase and Crypto.com. Those are two platforms. With Crypto.com, they're offering 1% loan. So you can borrow at 1%. You can only borrow 50% of what you have in crypto. So 50% of your crypto, whether it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever it is. So if you've got 10,000 in Bitcoin, you can only borrow 50%, 5,000 at 1%, and then go do what you want to do. And I think there's no terms. It's very flexible. So I do believe that, so right now, Bitcoin is at, let's see where it's at. I know it dropped tremendously. It was all the way up at like 64, 65K. And then as of today, Bitcoin is now below 50,000, right? It's below 50,000, according to Coinbase. Yep. So it's at 49,243.25. That's Bitcoin. Currently, it's April 2021. Right? It's the 22nd. Today's the 22nd as I record this. So, let's say somebody has an IBC cash value policy and you're willing to make an investment. You're willing to lose all your money. Okay? If you have that mentality and you have the ability to lose money, then this might be something you might want to play with. Because this is all speculation in my opinion. This price is volatile. I just told you, like literally a week or two ago, the price was all the way at 65K. Today it's at 49. What the hell's going on, right? Too much. So a lot of volatility. But let's say you take a loan. Let's say you borrow. Let me get the comment down so y'all can see this. Right? IBC, cash value loan, 10 grand. You buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. Bam. However that breaks down. And then your 10,000, let's say, jumps. The value of Bitcoin goes to 65,000. I don't know how it works in terms of like what that actually means. If I have 10,000 of Bitcoin, and let's just say it goes from 10, like you have $10,000 worth of a portion of a Bitcoin, and then over the next few weeks, the price shoots up to 65 grand. Let's just say your money doubles. So now you have $20,000 worth of Bitcoin, right? You borrowed over here on the IBC at like, say 6%. So you're paying 6% on the 10. So that'll be $600 for the whole year. You're being credited the same rate. So it's a wash. No cost of borrowing on the inside of the policy. Wonderful. Now over here, your money doubled. You're at 20. And say you're like, okay, I would like to borrow at, say, 1%, 50%, so 10K. You borrow the 10K out of Bitcoin. Now, the beautiful part is you don't lose your Bitcoin when you borrow it. And it's likely that the crypto will increase higher than 1%. So that's a wash. So you wash that and you wash that. Money got used once here, 2 times here, and for a 3rd time you're borrowing again. So 10K borrowed. Say you invest now in, I don't know, what can we invest in? Let's say you invest in a small business. Right, so I invested, recently I invested 10K in a small black-owned business, right? 10K. And they're going to pay me roughly like, I think 10 to 20% return on my money for a period of time, guaranteed. They're a small business, they're making sales, making revenue, cool. So I'm going to make roughly 1,000 to 2,000. 10,000 at 1% is $100. In reality, it's a wash. I already made 100% because the 10K increased to 20. So I'm already, that's a wash for me. $100 is nothing the way this thing fluctuates, right? Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. This is a wash. This is a wash. 10,000 invested, small business. 10 to 20% return. Business pays me back over a period of time. I pay back the 10K principal loan, right, into here. This stays outstanding for as long as I want. If I want, I can take the 1,000 to 2,000 here and put it in here if I want, and then redeploy the funds. So it can get a little, this might seem confusing, but this is so simple in execution. At the end of the day, when you get real educated on how you want to move things around, sure, this could work, right? I'll give you a simple example of something that I've done recently, right? And I'm testing the waters, right? So, take away the IBC for a minute here. I have a credit card, Bank of America, 0% offer, 3% fee, one time, 0% for roughly 12 months, right? It's a $25,000 credit limit. I did a balance transfer of $6,500 directly deposited to my checking account, paid the 3%. 6,500 times 3%. It's $195. Now here's the cool part. With this specific Bank of America credit card, I have $199 in cashback rewards sitting, right? So I leveraged $6,500 of the bank's money at 0% for 12 months, paid the 3% fee, $195, washed it with my cashback rewards from the bank themselves. So no cost to me. Now I got $6,500. I then put it in something called the USDC. It's a stable coin. It's a digital US dollar, essentially, backed by Coinbase. Okay? It's United States digital coin, and it's on the Ethereum network, if I'm not mistaken. And then I stake the currency. I buy 6,500 worth of USDC coins. I stake it, meaning I invest it, and I earn 12% on the 6,500 over the next 12 months. So 6,500 times 12%, $780. right? Not bad. Zero cost of borrowing. 780, small example, nothing crazy, right? Small example. 12% return, 780 bucks, cool. If I would have did the Bitcoin thing, if I was to buy Bitcoin right now, $6,500 worth of Bitcoin, and then the thing shoots up to 65,000 again in the next month or two or whatever, which is very likely, right now it took a major dip. So somebody sold a lot of Bitcoin, or something happened, some news that affected, maybe it dropped because regulation might be coming in. Who knows? Because look, we're in a different administration right now, and maybe Federal Reserve don't like how high Bitcoin's going, so maybe they might implement some regulation, right? Who knows? Maybe that's why the price is down. I don't know. It's pure speculation. So with the stable coin, I don't have to worry about price fluctuation, and then I can also invest, get a rate of return, and I can turn that right back into U.S. cash at any given time, right? So 780 plus 65, and let's say I do it again the next year. Bank of America always sends me that every year. They send me it. So what I could do throughout the year is run bills through the card, get more cash back, do it again, right? Or maybe I can call them and say, hey, waive the fee, negotiate with me. There's so many different ways of doing it. This is peanuts. This is nothing crazy. I could have invested that $6,500 in somebody's business, or I could have, bought maybe a certain stock that I thought was going to go up, or maybe I could trade Forex. Who knows? So hopefully that answered your question, Aaron. I laid that out. When I pay the monthly amount of my HELOC before the due date, can the bank freeze the HELOC? Yes. At any given time, your HELOC could get frozen. The likelihood of that happening when you know your numbers, when you manage, when you leverage properly, the likelihood of that happening is highly unlikely, right? If you max borrow your HELOC, you're increasing the likelihood of the bank potentially freezing that. The other reason why they would freeze it is the equity in your home went down in value. So if you had a $500,000 valued home, you got $100,000 equity, so that means you owe $400,000. So you got $100K of equity, right? $100K equity, the value is $500,000, you owe $400,000, and then COVID hits, or a market crash or whatever, and you lose 30%. So your property loses 30%, which is $150K. Maybe it loses 20%. So it loses between 100 and 150K, and you have a HELOC, second position HELOC at 100, and then you and the wife decided to spend the $100,000 on remodeling the home. You did the roof, you did the bedroom, you did the kitchen, you did the garage, you turned the garage into a man cave. You spent all this damn money on the property hoping that the value of the home would go up, and guess what? It did not. It came down. And so now there's really not equity because the value dropped to $400,000 or it dropped to $450,000. So the bank says, whoa, they lock you up. And you thought you were going to do velocity banking, and then they locked you up, and now you have a payment on this, and you got a payment on the damn mortgage. Not a pretty place to be in. Like I said, when you read articles on HELOCs getting frozen, look at how they talk. They're not talking in velocity banking terms. They're not. All the articles that I read, they're not talking velocity banking. They're talking people borrow from their HELOC to do it, to make an investment, to buy another home, to remodel the kitchen, the bathroom, the garage, the roof, the this, the that. And their form of paying back was just making the regular monthly payment. So now they got 2 payments to worry about, and they totally messed it up. They messed themselves up. Would you please give an example how you used your method to pay about 100,000 in debt? Hello, Cole. Just do me a favor. Watch any of my velocity banking scenarios. Whether it's 100,000, whether it's 50,000, whether it's $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, the fundamentals are the same. Stock market is not a casino, but it is a way to generate wealth. Correct. I say first eliminate debt, then invest in a business or real estate, then use cash flow from that to invest in stocks. But stocks would not be my first pick for cash flow. Correct. I would not be picking stocks for cash flow. Not necessarily, not right away. Long term, yes. It's great. Dividends, dividend investing, stocks, index, funds, wonderful. Okay, consider staking cryptocurrency instead of investing in stock. Wouldn't say easy, but maybe effective. Getting ready for velocity banking, but it's usually better to pay off car loan. But is it usually better to pay off car loan? 248 before mortgage to increase cash flow? Probably. Typically, yes. You know, it's the same debt snowball mentality, right? Of going from smallest debt to highest debt. Says I got a couple thousand USDC. Yep. Same here. Risk free. Yep. I think you mean future liabilities when you are saying unpaid debt. Yeah. Yep. Unpaid. Yep. That's what I meant. What is USDC? United States dollar coin. Yep. Social Security, Medicare. Yep. Love the fact that you don't tell us what or how to think, but rather present the options in detail, along with extremely valuable content to empower us to reach the best decision for us. Yes, that is I think that is a more effective way of delivering information in a way where I can just say, look, this is what I do. This is how I operate, but I don't want you to do it because I do it. I want you to do it because you evaluated the information. You studied, you researched, you came to a conclusion. This makes sense because I ran the numbers, not Denzel ran the numbers. I ran the numbers. I came to a conclusion. Boom. We're getting results. So he's getting a 9% APY. Cool. Dollar for dollar. Yeah. Cool. Welcome. Good luck. Okay. Income 5,200. Expenses 4,500. Cash flow 700. Debt 155K. Cash on hand is 15,000. Cash value. So somebody has a policy. 30 grand. No tools, please help, thank you. One option, Buddha, is there's the free route. The way I help is by creating valuable content just like this, okay? That's one option. Option number 2, you can enroll in the course that I have. You can lock in a phone call with me. You can get inside my course and see how I operate. I do networking events. I do private live streams. I do networking events, ways to communicate with my community in a more intimate setting. That's one way. The third is you can visit a competitor. You can check out Mike Adams, phenomenal guy on Velocity Banking. He's been doing it longer than I have. Great content. You can check out Mike Adams. He has free content, so you can go his route, free route. He has a small Velocity Banking course. I believe it's very effective. I don't own it. I don't use it. I got my own, and I know how to do it. He offers one-on-one consultation, so you can pay for his time right now if you wanted to and just get on a call with him. I don't operate like that currently anymore, just because of the amount of volume of clients that I have. So I require people to go into my course first before I do a one-on-one session, because I want to make sure that I'm not doing things like trying to get your numbers or trying to teach you how to get a line of credit. I've already done all the work. I've already created all the videos. It's there. It's a matter of you taking the time. So you go to Mike Adams. You can check out Matthew Pillmore, VIP Financial, phenomenal guy. You can check out Garrett Gunderson, phenomenal guy. Carmen and Darius with Wealth Nation. They have a program that they just launched called the Money School. So you can check out my different competitors. I wouldn't call them really competitors. I collaborate and move and shift and send business their way all the time, and business comes my way. So, you pick somebody who you know, like, and trust, and you get ready to go, right? Now, back to the numbers. You said you have no tools, but you've got 15 grand in cash. That's a tool. And you've got 30 grand in cash value. That's a tool. So you could be thinking, okay, how can I use the cash value policy to consolidate the 155K of debt into the policy, reduce your borrowing cost to zero in terms of how you leverage it, right? The 15K cash on hand, can I hold on to that and maybe use that to max fund the policy on the anniversary date next year, or do a makeup contribution, get more money into the policy, have that 15K work a little bit better for me? Which route do you want to go? Do you want to say, okay, my income is $5,200 a month. Do I want to go ahead and 10x my income? Do I need to get a promotion at my job, position myself for a raise? Do I need to transition to a new job, higher paying career? Do I need to finally start that side business that I've always wanted to start? Do I need to get a second side hustle, sales position, commission based? What are some additional streams of income that I can bring into your personal economy and get to the next level? So I just presented a bunch of options. You might have to go back, repeat, and write things down so you can move forward. Unfunded liabilities is the official term. It is not necessarily future, as these are considered non-discretionary expenditures, and the SS Trust Fund by their own admission is red. Okay, yeah, and Coinbase just went down from 293 from something 31, or I know it was at, I bought the Coinbase stock at $398, and then I bought it again at $340, and then I bought it again below 300. So I got 3 shares of the Coinbase. We'll see where it goes. Bitcoin is consolidating now. What does that mean? What platform gives you 12% APY? It's called crypto.com. Crypto.com. Not bad at all. Thanks for that. Cool. Bitcoin is going bust. Yellen is going to regulate it. Okay. Regulation is the #1 threat to the cryptocurrency space, I think. I love that BOA credit card offer. I use it in conjunction with my personal line of credit, pay down my mortgage. Wonderful. You're giving us exposure to things we are not privy of. That's what's great, also by listening to your presentations. This is much better than listening to primetime TV. Wonderful, wonderful. So, are there any other questions? We're an hour and 48 minutes in. There's 104 people watching at the moment. If there are no other questions, I'm going to get ready to wrap this baby up. If you found value in this session and you would like to give, you'd like to sow seed into my kingdom, into the things that I'm doing, into my business to help me grow, get to the next level, there are multiple ways that you can give. You can give via my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Cash App is fine. You can give hitting the super chat button if you want. That's awesome. It's pretty quick, really easy to use. That right next to your comment is a little money sign. You hit the money sign. You can give via like an emoji, or you can make a statement or a testimony, and they'll highlight the comment, and that's super nice. Or a way of giving is actually by helping yourself by either enrolling in one of the services that I have below. Do you need personal credit repair? I have a link below for that. Are you looking to build your business credit? I have a link below for that. These are just resources, people that I've partnered with, people that I've used their service, got results, and then I'm a testimony. So I'm like a customer, right? And I'm just an advocate for it. Do you need a cash value life insurance policy? You ready to make that move into the infinite banking space? I have a link below for that. Are you looking for some business opportunities in the direct sales, network marketing, multi-level marketing space? You can send me a message on that. I can show you some companies that I've been involved with in the past that I failed at. I can show you companies that I've experience and had a good experience. Even though I failed, I had a great experience, great product. I can share my experience and knowledge in the certain companies that I'm involved with now in the network marketing, multi-level marketing, direct sales space. That has taken a huge increase in attention since the pandemic, because network marketing, for the most part, is designed to be able to do it from home. So even before COVID was a thing, the marketing in the network, the marketing in the network marketing space has always been home-based business, work from home, build your business from home. You don't need an office, you don't need a this, you don't need a that. So network marketing has skyrocketed in terms of people that have been getting success, creating cash flow, selling great products and services, building organizations, building teams. Fascinating opportunity right now. If you want to have a conversation around that, or if you want me to create content around that, I can totally do that. What else I got going on? If you're so if you're just looking for velocity banking, like to learn it, to practice it, kind of like a DIY, I have a course on that covers velocity banking, infinite banking, kingdom authority, 10x, creating content, opportunities, different ways of implementing the concept in a very chronological order. I also cover debt snowball, and then my course is set up in a way that is performance based. So it's not just watch videos and, you know what I mean, and then like stick it on the shelf and never log in, never use it. It's you watch the videos and you earn credit with me. So you go through the course and I actually reward you with one-on-one time just by going through watching the material, because then that tells me, okay, they watched all my videos on the line of credit, how to get it, the fundamentals, the rules, the what to do's, what not to do's. So by the time I get on a call with that person, it's straight strategy. I'm not coaching you. I'm 25. I do not consider myself a financial coach. I consider myself a financial consultant. I'm a strategy guy. I'm not going to coach you. I'm not going to, discipline and mentor and motivate. That's not me. I'm more so strategy. I may come off as, motivating, trying to get you to take action, of course. That's all fine and dandy. But when we're on a call together, I need the numbers. Right? Give me the numbers. I say, okay, what do you want to do? You don't know what you want to do? Here are the options. Which one suits you best? Okay, option A. Great. All right. So if we're going to do option A, here's what we have to do. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Here are the what to do's, here are what not to do's, here's what to look for. Go. Right? And then you come back and you report and you say, yeah, I did it. Here I go. I got the results. Loving it. All right. So Terry just gave $9.99. Love it. Appreciate your giving in the kingdom. Thank you for sowing seed. Thank you for continuing to sow seed. Terry is a lifetime client. I believe has given on my Patreon page, has given multiple times on the YouTube channel, multiple times. Just big giver. Love it. Thanks for all the great content, Denzel. God bless you, your family. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Okay. Pay my whole life premium. Can I overfund a large amount that I saved? Yes. So, question is, so when it comes to cash value life insurance policy, me personally, I like to always pay in full. My policy will perform better than anyone else that pays monthly, quarterly, semi. I also teach my clients to just pay in full. Now, for those that pay monthly, right? Your monthly payment is slowly but surely covering the premium. Maybe there's a term in there, right? And then your PUA rider to give you the ability to overfund at any given time. And then once you're max funded, you're max funded. Done. Done deal. Right? So yeah, for the most part, life insurance companies are pretty flexible in that manner. Okay. Step 1, don't spend more than what you make. Cool. All right, guys, this has been fantastic. Thank you for tuning in this evening. We had almost a little over 110 people, I think, at one point tuning in. So that was awesome. I appreciate all the support that you guys give. Click the links in the description below. Get on my newsletter. Join my private Facebook group. Surround yourself in the kingdom. Start connecting with the different resources that I share with you. Start one thing at a time, which leads to many things, right? You build one thing to have many things. Do not overwhelm yourself. Watching my YouTube channel, binge watching, can be very beneficial, but also very dangerous, because you're watching Denzel, but then you're not actually doing anything, right? So make sure you're not getting caught up where you're being entertained by Denzel. Let's not get caught up in that. Do not just get, it's nice to be entertained, right? And to learn effectively, but don't stay there. You watched a video. Let's say you watched a video I did a year ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and you got a nugget. So you say, okay, take that nugget, give me a break, right? So put me along the side. You say, all right, Denzel, love your content. You're posting, you're all over the place. Emails are going out, right? Take it easy. Do not overload yourself. Don't get overwhelmed. You take the information that you learn. You say, all right, I'm going to give Denzel a break from watching the videos. I'll catch up. And I'm going to go execute on that one thing he told me to do 6 months ago that I haven't started. So I'm going to go execute on it, which is, say, business credit repair, personal credit, starting the policy, 10x your income, starting the YouTube channel, getting on the online space, getting in the digital marketing space, figuring out ways to position myself to get a promotion, a raise at my job, or transition to a new career. All right, stick to that. Once I do it, okay, great. I'm there. Next step. I got my credit repaired. Okay, and I got my business credit repaired. Wonderful. Now I'm going to do my policy. Okay, I got my policy in place. Great. Let's now, okay, you need a will, you need a trust. Okay, you need some legal protection, you need some business protection, you need some insurance. Little by little, right? You add things along the way, right? Don't get overwhelmed. I call it IOS, information overload syndrome. You want to avoid that at all costs. Best way to do that, in my opinion, is by having a fantasy league. What is a fantasy league? A fantasy league is a small group of highly successful individuals that you personally really have learned a lot of information from. So let me give you my fantasy league. I've got good old Uncle G, Grant Cardone, Mr. Tony Robbins, Mr. Gary V, right? Miles Monroe, Denzel Washington, right? Denzel Washington, I got 5. There's somebody that I'm missing that I usually have on here and I forget. So Grant Cardone, Tony, oh yeah, PBD. Gotta add him to the list. He's more recent. PBD stands for Patrick Bet David, has a YouTube channel called Valuetainment. This guy has drastically improved my life over the last, say, 6 to 9 months is when I really started heavily listening to him on a regular. So this is my fantasy league. Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuk, Miles Monroe, Denzel Washington, Patrick Bet-David. Typically, you want to keep your fantasy league under 5 people. I know I have 6. So technically speaking, I kind of replaced Tony Robbins for PBD. PBD is very motivational. Patrick Bet-David is very motivational, very educational, very financially aware. I really honestly have not listened to Tony Robbins in a very long time. So I kind of replaced him off my fantasy league. I consistently will listen to Grant, Miles Monroe, Gary Vaynerchuk, Denzel Washington. His movies, interviews, he doesn't create content. But his attitude, his character is something that I really pay attention to. When he does movies, his interviews, how people talk about him is how I want my people to talk about me. People that know me, and even when I pass away, right? You never really know how much people care until you pass away and how many people show up at your funeral. So I'm building a character like Denzel Washington. You know, he got the a recent award, something it's called Lifetime Achievement Award, I think is what it was called. And the amount of people that showed up to support Denzel Washington was incredible. The caliber of people that were there, all the people that he impacted in many different ways. I'm just like, wow, that takes character. That's reputation. This guy has a reputation unlike no other in like the Hollywood business space. So I absolutely admire him in terms of character. Patrick Bet-David is like my motivational guy that I listen to. Miles Monroe, spiritual, kingdom focused. Gary Vaynerchuk, content creation. Grant Cardone, the money man, right? I only go to him about money. That's it. How do I 10x? That's the only thing. So the fantasy league to build up your life, you want to be following people that are operating at a very highly successful level that have maybe the things that you want in life. So it could be material, objects, right? Lifestyle. But more importantly, you want that character, that reputation, right? You want that. You want the attitude, the way they behave, their reputation. Maybe it's a type of business that they're in. So let's say you wanted to lose weight and you wanted to increase your faith, right? And you wanted to improve your finances, right? So what you would do is you want to research the internet of highly successful people that have lost a ton of weight. Not only did they lose weight, but they teach about losing weight. They have a personal experience that maybe is similar to yours, right? And you just relate to them, right? Maybe they're around the similar age as you, similar culture, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. You really want to take time to develop your fantasy league, right? And then you find someone that shares the same faith as you, right? So if I wanted to improve my faith, it would be unwise for me to learn from an atheist, right? That would not make any sense because atheists do not have faith, right? They don't believe in a higher, say, power or God. So no matter how smart that atheist is in science or in money, I can't put them on my fantasy league if it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to learn. And this is a great way for you to curate the information and the time that you spend on the internet, right? We're spending a lot of time on the internet now, so you want to remove all the junk. Okay, if I believe in, say, Christianity, Catholic, or maybe I'm a Buddhist, maybe I'm a Hindu, maybe I Whatever it is that you currently believe in, right? So let's say you were trying to improve your faith. You're going to want to find somebody that's highly successful in the faith that you're looking to either learn about or improve or increase in. So me personally, I believe in a kingdom. Right? I don't believe in religion, because religion simply means to me that is man searching for God. Kingdom is the destination, right? So it's like religion brings me ultimately to the kingdom, but I don't stay in religion, because the kingdom is the final destination, and it's also the lifestyle of how I operate. And in a kingdom, it's the place that I get the most amount of results, performance. I'm most effective when I'm in kingdom thinking, right? So if I wanted to learn everything there is about kingdoms, historical kingdoms, kingdoms that have risen to power and have fallen, living kingdoms today, the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God. If I want to learn about that, I'm not going to learn it from, say, a Catholic priest that teaches the Catholic way. 7 sacraments, this and that, repent on this, Sabbath this holiday, that holiday, this saint, that saint, they got 1,000 saints. What does that have to do with the kingdom, right? So really being able to like differentiate and say, okay, this is how I curate my information. This is how I come to my conclusions, right? Let's say it's money. You want to improve your money. Am I going to learn from somebody who's broke? Or am I going to learn from somebody who has a whole lot of money? But not only that, it's the way they accumulated the money. How did they accumulate the money, right? So if you want to learn how to make money in real estate, are you going to learn from a life coach that made 7 figures in coaching people's life? No. You want to learn from a real estate developer, a real estate mogul that has 1,000 units, 10,000 units, 4,000 units in $1 billion portfolio or $2 billion portfolio. And it would be great if that person in your fantasy league that you have has books, right? They have books. They have resources. Very important. Maybe a course, right? Program. Very important. So that you can access them without accessing them, right? Without, because if I wanted to talk to Grant Cardone one-on-one, it costs $100,000. If I want to talk to Gary Vaynerchuk, it's going to cost a lot of money. If I want to talk to PBD one-on-one, that's going to cost a lot of money. Miles Monroe passed away, so I can't talk to him, right? Denzel Washington, if I want to talk to him, it's going to cost me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of effort. So it would be great if not only the person in your fantasy league is highly successful, in tune and alignment with what you're trying to learn, but they also have very affordable resources that you can engage with. They have a YouTube channel, they have an Instagram, they have a podcast, they have books, they have a course. Little by little by little by little, you build it up. And then what this helps you do, when you have a solid fantasy league, you're able to make friends a lot easier. Friends, partners, and you do business with the right people. So for example, I have a partner, his name's Alex Albaran. He helps with my email marketing, sales marketing, landing pages, website, follow-up, helps with all that. He's not a multi-millionaire by any means. He's younger than me, and we make around the same money, but his mentality was right here. He has a 10x mentality. He knows who Grant Cardone is. He listens to Grant Cardone just like I do. He listens to Gary Vaynerchuk in terms of marketing, online content creation, and organic and paid traffics and all this stuff. So he's studying the same stuff that I'm studying, and it doesn't cost me $100,000 to get to him. Maybe it's 90% cheaper to get to him because he's building just like I'm building. So it's easier for me to make a friend with him because I can reach him, I can touch him, I can call him, I can set up a meeting. I can afford to get in his room, right? And be at his table and eat with him at his table. And then it's a lot easier for me to do business with him because not only is he aligned with the money and with his mentality and attitude, but we also share the same faith. So we also believe faith, financial, spiritual, physical. He's in good health. I'm in good health. He's got his money in line. He doesn't go into debt. He doesn't waste money. He has good credit. He knows how to leverage. He gets what, you see where so I'm able to now create a partnership is a hell of a lot easier because we're in alignment. And it didn't cost me the $100,000. That's the point. So you don't get a fantasy league just so you can spend your whole life trying to get in the room with them. No, what's a little more effective if you're coming from lower income environment is you learn from these guys and then you find people that study and practice what they preach and put it into play and they're getting results, and then you connect with them. And you collaborate and you grow together, and guess what? You, in 5, 10, 20 years, you become the fantasy league to someone else. Game over. That's how I avoid information overload. It's how I curate information because I can only learn so much, right? So if I want to learn about money, I can't listen to 10 different people. I can't. Even if those 10 people are all billionaires, right? I'm sure we can all name 10 billionaires that have a lot of freaking money that are very knowledgeable about money. But I gotta pick one guy. Because if I spend my time listening to all 10, I'm gonna be right where I'm at, making $7,000 a month still, $5,000 a month, 10 years later. Oh yeah, I listened to Shark Tank and Kevin O'Leary and Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins and Miles Monroe and Les Brown, and I listened to Dean Graziosi, and I listened to this guy, and I listened to that guy. I listened to Damon John and the owner of the Mavericks, I forgot his name. I listened to all these guys, and I'm so knowledgeable. I accumulated all this knowledge. I got it all, right? You got all this knowledge going on. You still make only $7,000 a month. You still only make $5,000 a month. You still only make $4,000 a month. What the hell's going on? So you're in information overload. You're just like, yeah, this is good. Oh my God, yeah, right? So you don't want to stay there, right? So for the 104 people watching live right now, and then everybody on the replay, if you stayed all the way to the end, I'm gonna wrap it up right here because I can just keep going and I get all crazy. And I see some other comments that came in. You're helping pay for my wedding. Been sharing your info to the children that are in their 20s. Top 5 successful people to follow and emulate. Yep. Robert Kiyosaki, Patrick Bet-David. Yep. Chris Crone is cool. John Maxwell. Oh, amazing. He's got like 100 books. He's amazing. Lose weight, financial freedom, travel to my favorite places, build legacy, but first of all, health. Yep. Cool. Wonderful, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless. And we will be talking pretty soon. I want to bring to you helpful tools and tips that you can use and implement in your life. So you have to define these words for yourself so you can understand how you can proceed in life in terms of making money. Work means becoming a king. That's what work means to me. But it's up to you to actually put in the work so you can see where you're at, what you're doing. This way you can see what you're up against and how to tackle it. Learn your purpose in life so that you can fulfill it and help others do the same. That's like my personal mission.